Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Tuesday Table Talks. I'm your host, Mantra Lotus, and with our co-host,
Tigra with Tiggy'd Productions.
Right. Thank you for joining us today. We are once again in the beautiful, wonderful, luxurious, and healthy space of love and light here at 1325 Hampton Avenue.
I love it.
Yes. And we are here with our very, very special guest that we are honored to have with us today, which is Dr. Busch-Williams.
Thank you.
Right. And we'll be discussing self-esteem and boosting the confidence in our youth. And Dr. Busch is going to explain everything about herself, as well as everything, the historical things that are on the table right now, which is also perfect for Black History Month, right? So we are right on it, y'all. We own it. So which kicks off tomorrow.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's a wonderful show. Anybody who's coming in and chiming in, please share the broadcast, get it out there. We're growing, we're multiplying, and we're manifesting.
Yes.
So I'm gonna pass it over to this wonderful goddess, supreme goddess here.
Oh my goodness.
Dr. Busch.
Well, thank you,
Williams.
ladies. I
Thank
am
you.
just so grateful to have this opportunity
Thank you for
to
coming.
be here this afternoon. I really didn't at first when Tigra called me. I thought I was coming to talk about self-care at one time, and then I thought I was coming to talk about children and whatnot. But I'm grateful to know that I have an opportunity to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart,
Yes.
where I spend maybe a great deal of my leisure time
Oh, beautiful.
working. So now that I'm retired, I spend the majority of my time with this particular organization. But I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to come and share it with you today. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. So Dr. Busch-Williams, you got your start in education. You were an educator, a
Yes.
principal,
Yes.
yes, licensed counselor.
Yes, I am.
Yes,
Everything,
yes,
right?
yes, all around.
So yes, I'm a retired principal from the St. Louis Public Schools,
Mm,
and I have my stripes, but you can't see them, but
Mm.
they're
I'm
here.
sure. I know you got
From serving in the St. Louis Public Schools.
Yes.
I had a great opportunity to serve as a teacher,
Mm.
a counselor, and also work with teachers as an educational coordinator, and so later a principal. It was a wonderful opportunity to serve in different capacities. And I learned so much about what our children need, what helps them to thrive. And it was just a wonderful place to be. I never thought I wanted to be the person that was in charge of the school,
Mm.
but the closer I got to it, the more I realized that that's where the decisions are made on a daily basis of what can happen for children and for teachers, and to do all that you can to bring that to them, what they need. So it was a great opportunity for me to be able to serve at that level. And I say that everything happens for a reason.
Mhm.
I didn't seek that position, but I evolved into that position and served the whole district for 37 and a half years.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
It was wonderful, and I'm grateful for it. Excuse me. But at the same time, I had this opportunity to work with this particular organization, and I really wanted to just start today by saying that I look at it as an inheritance, something that I inherited, because as a little girl, I was shy, believe it or not. I was a shy person, kind of withdrawn, didn't say much. I did a lot of listening because I always liked older people, and I always liked to listen to people of wisdom. And so I said very little. But my grandmother decided to ask me one day, she said, "Do you have any friends at your school or at church that you can kind of pull together to form a little girls club?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I think I do." And so I was able to gather some friends from school and church, and we formed a little girls club. And we called it the Wee Girls Club. So we did everything that you do in a club. We elected officers, and we had little activities. We had a little parade in the neighborhood and things like that. But that was something that I didn't realize at the time was something that would change my life.
Mm.
And it has impacted my life so fully that I want to share it with others all the time.
Yes.
And so this little girls club, I grew up in it. I had an opportunity to be in poetry reciting contests and then oratorical contests later on, and then to serve in different capacities and learn how to be a treasurer or a secretary or how to give reports and things of that nature. And while I was doing that, I was also given an opportunity to sit in on meetings with ladies. And so I'd be in the back of the room and just listening to them as they handled business and planned activities and whatnot. And I didn't realize how much I was learning from them, what they were pouring into me. And so I learned later on that some of these members of this club were also my teachers, my teacher from Sumner, my English teacher, my Sunday school teacher from church. These were ladies in the community who had come together, women of like mind, who really wanted to do something to help other people. And so I learned later on that these ladies were a part of an organization called the National Association of Colored Women's Clubs. And when I say that to people, they usually say, I don't know anything about that organization. Well, I'm glad that we have this opportunity because the National Association of Colored Women's Clubs is the oldest and the longest standing national organization for Black women in this country. We were organized in 1896 and still we are working and moving and touching the lives of people. So this was a great inheritance because I was connected to this organization at such an early age and had an opportunity to meet other girls from other places. I learned the geography of Missouri by sitting in meetings with them, and they would say, I'm from Chillicothe or I'm from St. Joe. I'm from Hannibal. And so I'm learning about these places in Missouri just by meeting these other girls and from other places. So it was just a wonderful opportunity to grow. And as I stayed in the organization, I kind of came out of that shell. I'd have to stand on the stage and give a welcome or introduce somebody. And they push you on out there and say, you can do it. Go on out there. Go on out there and do it. And so it was just a wonderful time for me. My sister was in it. My cousins were in it. My grandmother got us all involved.
Family affairs.
Yes. And not only that, neighborhood children, she just pulled everybody in. And she was one of my great mentors because I'm just like her. I do a lot of the same things that she did. I always want to pull in all the children in the neighborhood. Come on and get in the car if you don't have a ride. We're going to take a ride. Is not something you have to worry about. But she was in everything that had to do with serving other people, lifting other people up. Not only my grandmother, who was Lula Freeman, but my mother. She pulled my mother in. So it's a multi-generational organization.
So you had, between your family and these beautiful women of your community, they became your role models.
Yes.
So being that you have this background in the St. Louis public schools, what did you see? Did you see people with a lack of role models? Like, what do you think that our children are missing as far as, and what do we need to do to get them to these places where they can have a strong foundation of confidence, self-esteem?
That's a very, very broad question.
Yes, it is.
But our children have role models, but what kind of models they have are not necessarily of their choosing, but by virtue of the fact that they're growing up in an environment that's quite different from the one that we grew up in. As I mentioned, these ladies were in our community. They were people from our school that came back and poured into us in other places, in other ways. And so the difference that I saw, I guess when I started teaching, I would ask the children, how many of you went to church yesterday? And almost the entire class would raise their hands. And as I continued in the district and whatnot, sometimes I'd have to sub in a classroom or something if a teacher was out, and I'd ask them, how many of you went to church yesterday and it switched. Instead of there being 2 or 3 children that didn't go, which is the way it was when I first started teaching, there were two or three children that went to church. The church was one of those foundations. It was one of the ways that we gained our values. One of the places where we went for experiences, where we went to, it's how they kept us busy.
Yeah.
I say that all the time. They always kept us busy.
That's true.
We were either in Baptist Training Union or in Sunday school, or the Sunday school was putting on a play, or they gave you a speech that you had to do, but you were always involved in something. We went caroling. We did lots of things in our church. And so a lot of the children in our neighborhood had that opportunity. The children today don't have that as a way to gain some of the same values that we gained. The parents really don't see it as something that they can lean on. And so whenever you get an opportunity to talk to a parent, and they'll say how difficult it is raising their children, I'll let them know this is a source of strength building for you. And while you're taking time to maybe do some strength building by listening to a service, a song, a prayer, your children can also have an opportunity to learn about some of the Christian values. Treat others the way you want to be treated. You'd be surprised how many children you'll ask, what is the golden rule? And they say, what? I don't know what you're talking about. The golden rule, everybody knew what the golden rule was. Treat others the way you want to be treated. So these are just some basic kinds of learning teachings that we got that we didn't get to our children. So one of the opportunities I did have since I was involved in this organization was we had a little club at our school. We called it our leadership club, and the children had a chance to select representatives from their class to be a part of the membership leadership club. And so I was able to bring what I had to the children as an extension of their learning, because learning what you need to learn from a textbook and whatnot is important. But learning to live in this world, learning to be able to interact with others in a positive way, being able to search yourself to see if you have a talent that can be nurtured and displayed. These are some of the opportunities that you get as a part of this organization. And so we had a little club, but this is something that I've always had an opportunity to do. And after seeing what the rich experiences were for me, I wanted to get my daughter involved after I had a daughter of my own. And when she got to be about 6 or 7 years old, I came back to the organization and asked them, because I joined Delta, I became a Delta. And of course, I was involved in that in college. But after I got married and came back and had a daughter, I wanted her to have what I had. And so I came back to the organization, and the lady who had been our sponsor had just had a car accident. And she was no longer able to work in that capacity. They said, in fact, she probably won't return. And I'm thinking, wow, have you ever heard an expression from our elders when they say, she laid her mantle on me?
Oh, wow.
She laid her mantle on me, meaning that I had to take up, I realized at that time I had to take up where she left off. And she had served for over 30 something years in that capacity, but right at the time when I needed her to help with my daughter, she was gone. And so I started working with the Girls and Boys Club myself. And we formed a little club. My daughter, I did the same thing with her, and she brought some friends in, and they formed a club. And we got some of the cousins and some of my friends' daughters, and so on and so forth. And that's how I met Tigra here, because I was working with her mother, and we became friends, Ratan. And she said, I want my daughter to be a part of that, because everywhere I go, I'm talking about it all the time, and what the positive.
She just brought out the photos. We're going to post this later, but she just brought out the old baby, Kim, Sandra, we all in there.
I found this last night. I searched for it. I said, I know I have something with a picture of these young ladies, because and I went in my old file cabinet, and there this picture was of Kim Mosby, Adrian and Angela Washington, all of these young ladies, and they're doing such wonderful things in the world right now. All of them are manifesting so beautifully and doing things to help others.
Yes.
So it's just a joy to look back at this photo, which I haven't seen myself. And I noticed that the program that was on the other page says that this was from 1988.
Wow.
And we were having a
Wait, with my glasses.
we were having a program at the Wesley House.
Wow.
And the program was one where one of the things that we do as an organization is we help to preserve Black history, and we teach it to our children as well. And so we have activities to help them to learn it. And this particular activity was one where we brought in all of the stamps, commemorative stamps on which there are African Americans. And there is a display that you can get from the United States Post Office, and you can put all of these pictures on easels, which we did. And each one of these young ladies had to take one of those people and talk about them at this program. So this program tells you, which ones that they were actually talking about at that program.
Wow.
So you can look and see what Tigra had to
Let's
do.
see.
But that's something that they had to make a speech. They had to do some research on that person and tell about it at this program.
Wow.
And so those are the kinds of things that we would do with our young people. And I'm just so grateful that we had this chance. One of the ways that we help to teach about Black history is to name our clubs for people that we want to remember. And so our club, I'm a member of the Harriet Tubman Literary Club. And of course, she needs no introduction. But then we have other clubs that were like the Willie P. Minor Club or the Regina Nance Club, something of that nature. You heard that name, Nance, in the city. And of course, that is the family of the Nances. And then we had others in our organization, like Julia Davis, who preserved that history for us. She was the historian for the St. Louis Association of Colored Women's Clubs. So we preserve our history, and I became a lover of history. And our pastor at our church was a lover of history, Herman Dreer. And so I've always had all of these people to pour into me, and this is a great opportunity to give some back. But one of the ways that we do that, I was telling Miss Tigra here as I was meditating on some of what I had been reading earlier today, and that was notes that I had taken from a book called The Seat of the Soul, which is a book that Oprah says that it changed her life. And I figure if it changed Oprah's life, I want to read that and find out what's in that book. And I had taken some notes, and one of the things that they were talking about was our intentions and how our intentions shape everything that we do. And so he was saying that the seat of the soul is a place where energy is changed to matter by our intentions. And so what we're talking about today is what are our intentions? And your question then, what is our intentions towards our youth? And I was thinking too that I was sharing with Tigra that I really believe that along the way, we dropped the boat as older generations, because in our race, we have always reached back one generation to the next and taught our young women about how to raise their children and how to run their homes, and whatnot. And so we stopped doing that, I think, with my generation. I believe that we stopped talking to the younger mothers and whatnot about their children and stopped correcting their behavior when we saw them. At one time, anybody could correct us.
Right. Yeah.
Anybody on the street. They didn't even have to know your mother, but they could say something to you in the store, and my mother or your mother would turn around and say, "Thank you." Well, we stopped doing that because, and I'd hear some of my associates and whatnot say, I don't say anything to anybody's child anymore because they'll curse you out.
Right.
They'll tell you, ask you, who do you think you are, saying something to my child. And so I believe we became fearful. and we stopped helping with the other children. And that generation then raised other children who really didn't have the pathways that they should go, and they did not have the foundation that the generation before them had. And then the next generation, which is the one we're seeing now, those children are raising themselves.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
And so they literally are raising themselves,
Mm-hmm.
because you can look out and see them. You know, they're out by themselves, kind of like running around
Mm-hmm.
sometimes in the community by themselves. And so this organization keeps me encouraged, because I know when I'm looking at the news and I see some of the horrible things that are happening in the world, and some of our children that are just languishing and not really knowing which way to go, then I say to myself, well, there's something I can do. Because you can feel pretty hopeless if
Yes.
you look at the news and you can say, ooh, where are we headed? But if you continue to remember that this is just a small portion of the children that are in society now. There are children that are doing well and that are thriving. But for those that aren't, and for those that have parents who need guidance themselves, this organization gives us an opportunity to touch with those individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of looking at the news and feeling discouraged, it's a way that we can reach out and touch others. And so,
Right. Oh, I totally appreciate this conversation. It reminds me of a recent discussion that we had with the educator that was here a few
Yes.
weeks back, who wants to have somewhat similar African rites of passage programs within the schools. And one of the things that was distressing for him was having some of the pushback from administration when regarding how to have community involvement, as well as bring forth resources within the school system. And so what I'm hearing from you is basically the same thing, that we need some sort of assistance and I guess a way open, a bridge to allow community organizations such as this one, especially historic organizations with history of a workable plan and have results, with that. And so I'm curious as to how is it, or what do you think, how can we create more of an involvement now with the organization, other people, upcoming members of the organization? Is there a way that, are there certain schools that we could communicate with, or communicate with our politicians, aldermen, alderpersons? We have a little bit of touch, but I totally understand. I was blessed that I was able to go through a rites of passage program. I did somewhat go through a girls program, and also was able to have access to that for my daughters. But I think this is a very valid point, that the children do not have that same sort of backing from community, and we expect for them to do certain things, but they're not given the same leadership qualities. When I was in school, I went to Cardinal Ritter High School. When I was in school, we had leadership class. We had mentorship. We had the value system needed to be set in place. The foundation needed to be laid before studies. Why would somebody want to learn something if they don't understand the reason or the value to it, and then don't know themselves? So I think this is a wonderful touchback on what our responsibility is as a community, as a community, as social activists, as women within the community, and what more we need to do. And it starts here. I think, I think this is definitely that point, that light bulb, that goes off. Okay, we don't have this. This is not happening within our school system.
Right.
This is not happening within, like you said, with the churches or even organizations. It's nothing continuing this process. And then the ones that are, the reach is not, prominent the way that it needs to be. We have some good organizations doing things, but the reach, the ones that we really need to grasp to get in these schools. So I propose to our current principals and educators, administrators, and everybody that are in the school system, what do we need to do to get in your school?
Yeah.
You know, what do we need to do? How can we reinforce and bring forth programs like this within the school systems, so we can start doing some things, if it's after school or just coming in 10-20 minutes, even reading a book, you know, doing something that's going to have an effect, teaching some leadership skills and teaching some values,
because we have to reach these students.
We have to.
It was just on the news yesterday. I don't know what city it was in, but it was a young lady who was arrested for fighting her teacher.
Attacking her teacher.
Broke the teacher's leg.
She totally assaulted her teacher.
I mean, even if you were paying teachers $1 million, it's not enough to deal with that. And you're definitely not paying them anywhere near, you know? So it's like, we can't fix the past, but we can start somewhere. So right now we need to reach these children. Because you mentioned earlier off the camera, because I said, well, they don't have role models, but you said, well, they do, but it's not it's the video, social media.
Yes, it's social media, it's TV, it's music, it's the things that should not be role models. Exactly. And unfortunately, there's no comparison. You know, we have nothing on that level to say, oh, wait a minute. You know, before, we remember seeing the little animations of having the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other.
Yes.
Where they at? You know, we just have this one way or no way. You know, everything is flooding our children with negativity and hopelessness. You know, there seems to be no other way, or the feelings of not being able to escape something. And so our children are angry, and especially if they are raising themselves and not having the quality care or the quality resources within family that they need. You know, when you were speaking of dropping the ball, in a sense, from your generation, I think too, we need to understand that socially, the communities change. Our mothers were going to work. You know, my mama particularly worked 2 and 3 jobs. It was no way that she was able to take, care of us. We had more single parent households. We did not have the 2-parent households within the family. And so a lot that was taking place was the children having to kind of, in a sense, fend for themselves. We were running from the church, in a sense, because there were other things that were taking place within the church where we did not feel as if, we were safe and secure to be there. It's all this other stuff that was taking place. Yeah, a lot. And so we're dealing with issues with our youth that's not only impacting them emotionally and psychologically, but there are physical issues that are affecting our children. And if you think about it, the majority of time where they are, we hear this all the time, where the school says, well, it's not on us to do the complete raising of the children. No, it's not. But if children are with you between 8 to, sometimes 10 hours a day, and when they come home and mom is not there, dad is not there, or grandparents aren't, able to have that time, nor know how, nor have the ability to give them certain things and produce that foundation that's needed. It has to be taught in the schools. It has to be taught in the schools.
But that's another problem, because as the young brother was saying from the couple of weeks ago.
This was Ronald Sneed Jr.
Roland Sneed Jr. Yes, ma'am. So it's the tangent. Where do we go?
When he talked about what was taking place.
What was taking place in the administration. So it's like you have, and of course not all. Some people really, like Roland, really loves the children. He loves teaching. He wants to reach someone. But you have so many other ones who don't care. They're pushing them through. Just the pipeline was mentioned. Yes. So the children are seeing that. They know.
Pipeline to prison.
Yes, exactly. So children are seeing that. And you mentioned some other quote. You were saying how that fear and that anger leads to these other and that's why they're acting out. They know that they feel that no one at home is loving them or taking care of them. They go to school and they're like, well, these people don't care about me either.
It's just a job at school. Yes. It didn't used to be. It did not used to be.
They're infuriated. They're infuriated. So all this anger, this, depression, all these emotions.
Well, the people who are working with our children, first of all, they need to be encouraged.
It's not all educators. I mean,
Yeah.
almost, every educator I know really puts forth time and
Yeah.
puts forth work. But I think that's the part too that's disheartening at times, because we know that there are, genuine good educators who want the best. But when you have an administration, or we have the map testing, the standardized tests that issue or dictates what's funding is going into the communities. So I mean, it's a conundrum.
It is rolled
You
out
know,
of control,
yeah.
spiraled out of control.
Yes.
But
As
how
to
do we get a handle on that?
Yes.
I'm listening to you, and I really believe it's the power is in our hands to make a difference. The theme of this organization, our motto is lifting as we climb. And so what that implies is that we, what we do, and it's shown here on our logo here, where this young lady is reaching back as she's climbing up the rough side of the mountain. And she's reaching back and pulling up another young lady, but she's climbing the mountain herself, meaning that we never stop learning, we never stop searching to know what there is to know, but at the same time, we take what we do know and we reach back and pull others in. So what can we do? Then this is the time. And you ask, how can people get involved? Well, timing is everything. And this is the time when we are rebuilding this organization. This is a beautiful time for people to get involved in this particular organization, because it is a multi-generational organization. Like-minded women get together and help others. We have projects. We're helping Sumner right now with their care closet for those children that are homeless and they have needs. And so we're helping with that one. We are helping the Haven of Grace, those pregnant women, pregnant homeless women. So we find ways to help others, but that's on our level. And at the same time, we discuss current events. We're reading books such as The Seed of the Soul or whatever. But so we're growing and we're helping too, but at the same time, we can reach back and help others. Now, something that I learned, and you mentioned the church, is that we really need to just take time and ask children, how are you doing? How do you feel? They see what's going on. They see what's happening. You could ask them right now, how do you feel about Tyree? What's the name of the guy? What do you think about that? Tell me what's on your mind. What comes up for you when you see that on the news? And they will begin to talk with you. How does it feel to be a student here in this school? How does it feel to be a student in my room? And when you begin to touch with them on that level, they start to feel like I matter. And that's what that did when my grandmother said, come on and form this little girls club. It made me feel like she saw me and I mattered. And the more you touch with other children, touch with other people, other women and whatnot, it says, hey, you matter, we matter. And what we can do together is greater than what we can do alone.
That's right.
And now we can help others. And the great thing about this organization is that we're growing in that we have young adults that are coming in, young women on college campuses. We have one at Lincoln University called Poise. They named their group Poise. We have SIU. We have different universities across this country. And that's the fastest growing area of this organization. And then we have youth clubs. And we have a manual that shows you if you're interested in working with children, you just need to pull together 10 and begin to work with them. If you want to come together and form a club of your own and begin to share ideas about how you can touch other people's lives or how you can go into the schools and help, you just need 10 women. And we can help you to form your group. The women on college campuses, we're helping them to form their groups. And so we've got an army of people that are ready and willing to serve. Now, we could just begin with having forums. And I'm sure that principals would not mind if you come in and say, I'd like to just have a little youth forum with your children. We can start with the preschool, we can start with 5th grade, but we can ask them, how do you feel? What's going on with you? How can we be of help. They can tell you.
Mm.
And when they begin to know that you really are listening to them and you're learning from them and you're finding out what their needs are, then we can begin to serve them. When we had our youth forum at church, I found out from the students that they said, you don't know what pressure we're under from day to day.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that there are gangs, gay gangs,
Mm.
that are coming to us and beating us up in the bathroom and whatnot and asking us, are we gay? Are we gay? And if we don't say, yes, I am, and eventually after they come in and beat on you every day and tell you got to be a part of this gang,
Oh,
then
wow.
they said that's part of the pressure that we have. There are gay gangs and they're pressuring us every day to become a part of them.
Mm.
And they're girl gangs, girl gay gangs. These are things that I had no idea that this was going on in schools. So what can we can learn so much from the children about what they are fearful of, what we think we know, but we don't. We don't know what they're facing as they are in the school and in their neighborhoods and what they are facing when they go home in the evenings.
Mm.
And so just to let them know, you matter. You matter. We want to listen to you and find out what you need. But you know what? We're bringing something to you because we're going to have a talent contest.
Yeah, I like that.
And when you mention to them that they're going to have a talent contest, I've had children tell me, I don't have a talent. Oh, yes, you do. You may not know what your talent is, and you may not have ever looked for one within yourself, but you have something that you like to do,
Mm-hmm.
and we can take that and help you to develop it as a talent.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a talent. We're going to have a talent contest, and we're going to give prizes and whatnot, and you should see the children and how they get excited about that, and it gives them something else to focus on.
Right.
They got to focus on their schoolwork, but they don't have to focus on the social media right now because we're asking to come out of their self with something to present to others. So there are little things. These are little things that we used to do, old things. I mean, they say this is old stuff, but children love a talent show. They love a fashion show.
Mm-hmm.
They love, anything. And you tell them, look, you got to raise some money because we're getting ready to travel. And so what ideas do you have about that? Oh, they have ideas. So they learn fundraising. They elect officers and they learn to keep reports
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. So there are ways that we can approach the children, make a difference, but we can just start with listening to them and letting them know you matter to me. I'm concerned about you. Now I'm going to be coming over here and I'm just going to sit in your room and look and listen. And we can just do that. If we have a presence in the schools, we don't have to do anything with them right now. We can ask the principal, can we just come and be a presence in your school?
Mm.
And we'll be here, every week, such time or whatever, and just sit in the hallway. Just watch the children as they go by and see how they act and what they're doing and whatnot. Just be a presence in the classroom. Because teachers really want the opportunity to teach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we have some children that are sitting there saying, I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher said, well, did you do your homework last night? No. Why not? I didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they need someone else to help them to take that child aside. Let's look at that. Let's talk about that a little more. Because the teacher really has to move on with the entire class.
Mm-hmm.
And the class has a right to have that teacher's attention,
Mm-hmm.
but she can't divide it between them and that child that really needs some more involvement. So there are lots of ways that we can get involved. And right now, what's wonderful, we've had as many as 36 clubs in the city of St. Louis. We don't have that many now, but we're in the process of rebuilding. And so if you're interested in becoming a part of the organization, I have a card that I can leave with you.
Yeah, and we'll put the information on this video.
At the same time, if you have children that you would like for them to be involved, yes, they can. But you have to be someone that is planning to be involved along with them, because we're looking for sponsors that we can train, that we can share with them what the program is. We can be there to help you implement it, but we need people. We need foot soldiers that can help with the children. So we're here. We're a not-for-profit organization. We're not here not-for-profit. We are not-for-profit. We're registered with the state of Missouri and with the federal government. And so we're not here to make money, but we are here to give to others and help others.
Is there a website, Dr. Busch-Williams?
No, but you know what? We need one.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard this. They need a website for this
We need
nonprofit.
one.
So
We
if
need
you're
one.
out there and they can help,
And
please.
so that's what's so wonderful, because we are working with what we've always known.
Yeah.
And so we need to really utilize some of the skills that you
The younger
ladies have
generations, yeah.
and bring it so that we can go higher.
Well,
and
let me
reach
know,
out
because I
further.
build websites. So
You
I
heard
do-
that?
I do.
You heard that? Our
And I have
co-host.
a couple nonprofits that I work with. So
Oh,
yeah.
Look at God working.
Look at
today.
God. Look at God. Oh my goodness.
She's about to tear up.
I got you.
Wow.
We do
So,
that. Yeah.
I know we're going to circle back and talk about, because we are wanting to discuss ways to build confidence and self-esteem within our youth. And yes, this is definitely one way to build. I don't believe, my grandmother always said it, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. So this is another, an excellent avenue for children. People who don't know me like Tigra shy, but people who do know me, they'd be like, she was shy.
Oh,
I
yes.
was extremely, like, I literally still don't even like being in front of the camera,
Mhm.
but extremely shy. Wouldn't dance, I know, right? People know me. Anything, but Dr. Busch-Williams got me in this club. She had me in these oratory contests, winning
Nice.
first
Yeah.
place in these. Yes,
I looked for that picture last night with you holding your trophy.
big trophies.
Wow.
So many. And I was in a talent. I remember, you guys remember Judy Best's talent? It was a talent
Yeah.
show at the Kiel Auditorium. We had Chico DeBarge there.
Mm.
I won first place in my category, playing my saxophone, my alto sax. You may know Tammy Holland. She won in the older division.
Nice.
So it was just, I wouldn't have been able to do any of that if it wasn't for this organization, Dr.
Thank you.
Busch-Williams bringing me into the colored women's girls clubs. And I just built so many strong foundations, and it really helped build I was telling on one of the other shows, I was mentioning how I walk. Somebody actually commented on how I walk. I learned how to walk in these quartillions. She had us doing quartillions. I mean, the whole ball gown. I know how to curtsy. I sit, when I'm in front of a camera with my legs crossed at the ankle like a princess, because that's what we were taught.
Mm-hmm.
And those things stuck with me all these years. So my whole point is, it's an awesome organization for building confidence, self-esteem for young women, young Black women. But you also now have something that you're working towards young men too. And I know our young men
Yes,
need that.
we have boys clubs, girls clubs, and boys clubs. My son was a member of the boys club. In fact, that's how we started working with boys too.
Mm.
And so, in fact, he became one of the members of the boys club and went on to become the national boys president.
Nice.
Because he had learned so much. He told me when he got to Tennessee State, he walked into a meeting that they were having, and he asked, well, who has the agenda for today?
Mm.
And he said, because no one knew what an agenda was, he ended up becoming the president. He said,
Oh,
I didn't go in
wow.
wanting to be the president,
Wow.
but I knew that we needed an agenda. I knew that we needed
Structure.
yeah.
Right.
And so this is what it has done for so many people. And in fact, we want to have a reunion. I was telling Tigra here that we're looking forward to having a reunion, because there's so much that has happened with these young people and so much that they're doing right now, that it would just
Love to
thrill
see
our
it,
souls
yes.
to see you all together.
More than happy to give back.
Mhm.
More than happy to give back.
But this is part of why we're together. Our women came together because we needed uplifting in our community. At the time, 1896, it was after the Freedmen's Bureau did not work in this country. It was around the time they had the Jim Crow laws and whatnot. And they said, well, look, we need to help our own. We had all these educated women who had means, who had learned and whatnot to do. And they decided, why don't we come together and help our race? We are the only ones that really can help our race the way we need to be helped. And so they went into the community. They actually did surveys in the community.
Mm.
They knocked on doors to find out what is it that you need in your household and so on and so forth. And this is what they did to begin to help others. And, you know, my pastor said, when you have a great idea, at least 5 other people had that same idea at the same time.
Mm.
So as I studied the history, I found out that there were women here in this state that were talking about, you know, we need a group. And the women over here
Teach.
saying,
Mm.
we need a group. And before anything happened, they found out that there were groups that were forming, and they decided to join together.
Mm.
They ended up being in Washington, D.C., two of the largest groups in Washington, D.C. at the same time,
Mm.
about a week apart. And they knew about one another, and they decided why don't we just become one powerful group? Take our ideas, combine them, and do what we can, because our whole purpose is to lift our race.
Mm.
So why don't we do that? And at the same time, in the media, we were not looking good at all in the media. The cartoons that they had of
Mhm.
Black people,
Mhm.
the kinds of things they were
Caricatures.
saying about Black women,
Mhm.
as Ida B. Wells was going around
Mhm.
and teaching others about what was happening in terms of all of this, the lynchings and so on, and some of them because they said that our men had raped their women, and
Mhm.
sometimes it was not that at all. It was that they were actually lovers,
Mhm.
and they were not raping them at all. But these are some of the things that were coming out at the time, and so these ladies decided, look, our image is that we need to fight back, because that is not who we are. And so these women that did come together, they were Christian women. This is a Christian organization. It's built on Christian values.
Mm.
You know, we are our brother's keeper.
That's right.
It is our responsibility to reach back and help you. And so they decided to come together. Our image is important. And I was talking to Tigra about that. It said, you know, we really need, our younger women need us, because they'll show up at the supermarket with their bonnet on and their pajamas and their house shoes, which means they should have been wearing them in the house, but they just need help. They need someone to just point it out to them. Your image, it shows what you think about
That's
yourself.
Right. Mhm.
And my mother used to always say, when you go out of the house, always go looking like you could meet the president.
That's right.
And if you met the president, you wouldn't feel bad about how you looked. You always look the best that you possibly can, even if you're going to the store.
That's right.
It doesn't mean that you can't wear jeans when you go there, but it means that your hair is well kept, your nails are clean. You know, you are caring about yourself. And if you care about yourself, when someone else looks at you, they'll say, oh, I'll have to care about them too,
Mhm.
because they care about themselves. But if we can teach this to our young women and help them to learn that, and our children as they're growing, my self-image has a lot to do with how I treat myself. And so all of that's about self-care too, and I'm
Mhm.
talking to myself too, because all of that is strengthening your mind, your body, and your spirit. It all goes together. In fact, the 4 pillars of our youth club is mind, body, soul, and race.
Mm.
And it says, yes, you need to know what's happening in your race, and
Mhm.
you need to lift your own race. But our organization takes everybody. We have people who are not necessarily African American that are members of our organization,
Mhm.
because they will ascribe to some of the things that we're doing. And they say, yes, we can reach anybody.
That's right.
We're talking about reaching anybody of any race. And so people of other races have become members, as long as they know that we will have a focus on Black history, because it is important for us to keep our history alive and to teach it to others. But at the same time, if you're Native American and you join this organization, we're going to spend some time talking about your history too,
That's right.
because we all need to know one another. And what we'll find out as we begin to study each group's history, is we all are pretty much the same.
Mm.
We all have had struggles,
That's right.
similar struggles.
Mhm.
And when we know that, and how, then we can talk about how we overcame them,
Yes.
and then consider overcoming them together. So I thank you for this opportunity. And when I talk about our image, I want to say that one of the things I tell people all the time is I have my own little pet thing that I'm going through. Please, when you look at a group of ladies and you're talking to them, please don't refer to them as guys. Now, that happens by accident because it's become a part of mainstream where people say, how you guys doing today?
That's
And
right.
what's up with you guys? And you're looking at actually a group of
Women.
ladies. And so we want to keep that women, ladies, we want to keep that alive. We want to let people know that, we're ladies. In fact, this organization is about helping young ladies, girls to know that they are young ladies. So you sit like a young lady. You let the things come out of your mouth that would only come out of the mouth of a young lady. And so you wouldn't use profanity, would you? And so these are the kinds of things that we do when we are helping others to know that we have a better image than what you're seeing on the media when you see those people or some people that you see doing things that are not acceptable to us. It's not all of us, but we have to make sure that we are presenting ourselves. Look at these beautiful ladies as best we can.
That's right. That's right. I remember my mom always said if you had to curse, it was because you didn't have great vocabulary skills. So.
Exactly.
We have a broad vocabulary.
I never heard my grandmother. You couldn't even say darn or shoot because she was like, if you say darn,
It's
we
too
know what you want to
close
say.
to-
Yeah,
right.
we know what you really want to say. And then Ratan, I think it was literally at the end where she may have said the D word, like darn it, but it wasn't. It's like, wow, did my mom say? But yeah, so yeah, we grew up like that.
Yeah.
We grew up like that.
And that was common, within our household. So, like you said, it's just these, whatever, the generations that kind of missed the ball or missed the importance of continuing what we've been taught.
Yeah.
You
So, we started to integrate. And when we integrated, we picked up some habits and whatnot. And saying you guys is one of them. Usually that comes from being around people of another race who use that a lot. Actually, it started with, and I don't know if you ladies are old enough to remember, I mean, young enough, old enough, yeah. Archie Bunker and those people during those days. And that's what they would say. But it was originally how you guys do it. And it was shortened now to say how you guys doing. And now we picked that up and we all kind of say it, hoping that we are assimilating. But we're not really. So we need to pull it back in. And whenever you hear that or hear yourself doing it, kind of catch yourself, and say, oh, how you ladies doing? How are you ladies this evening? Or women, we're proud women. We're women, empowered women. And whatnot, and the more we can use that, the more others will begin to use it too.
I also feel like, I know you mentioned with self-esteem, when you show pride in yourself, it makes other people see it in you or treat you or respect you rather. But you also feel it within yourself. So, for instance, like when you're part of these groups, it's like it builds yourself from the inside out. Is what I'm trying to get at. So not only is it making other people see you a certain way, it's helping you to see yourself a certain way as well.
Yeah, I feel better knowing that I'm doing something other than shaking my head saying,
Right, that's right.
I am doing something. And so if we can help somebody in any little way, and the more we put what you're doing and what I'm doing, we put it all together, we're making a difference.
Me too. And that's been it. This has been, this 2023. Togetherness.
Yes.
Togetherness.
And
Teamwork makes the dream work. We've
Yes.
all combined with what we're doing, and we're blessed. That's all I can say. We are blessed.
Well, I love what
We're
you're
totally
doing.
blessed. Is that we're able to, without any pretense, without any of expectations, except for just to be as we are, and utilizing the greatness and the power that we have been blessed with, destined for greatness. We've come together and doing what makes us great, and it's helping, reinforce the value systems that are needed. You know?
Yes, yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Like
And
you're
look-
saying with the community when they used to come together, I and the organizations, how you had one here and one there, but they
Yeah.
came in DC and they decided to combine.
Mhm.
We need so much more of that because I see so many people competing
Yes.
with each other. And I know it's social media and all these
And
things.
there's no need to
There's
compete.
no need to
There's no
compete.
need
There's
to
a
compete.
re-
If you are
I
confident,
can take
you-
this candle and light every other candle
Yes.
in
That's right.
here.
That's
So
right.
much
When
work
one
to be
glows,
done.
we all glow.
Yes.
We're not at a loss for work.
Right. We're not.
The fields are white and the harvest is
And we're
waiting.
all
Say that again.
It's a song. The field is white and the harvest is waiting. Yeah,
Mm.
so, yeah.
Right. On that note, this Saturday we have a networking event. What time is it? At
1 o'clock.
1 p.m. here at Love and Light. So this networking event is for us, you know, for entrepreneurs, for business owners, for women business owners, for, you know, African American business owners, for whatever your business is. But if you want to become an entrepreneur, come on, you know, let's network and let's come together and discuss what our talents are and what we need to do to continue to manifest and become abundant in all aspects
Yes.
of our lives,
Yes.
and reinforce this necessary togetherness and this reinforce this necessary ancestral history that we have.
Yes.
You know, our legacy is built on us, you know, and we are blessed to have the pathway set for us to follow. We got the path, y'all. You know, we just have to take those steps and reinforce those intentions.
That's
so
right. That's
um,
right.
And the more we
So
come
that's
together,
that's
the
it.
stronger you become. It's cohesion. You know,
That's
a little
it.
bit we learn a little bit in school about, you know, how you
Strength,
come
that's
together
right.
and the strength that you, as you bond together. Just coming in the door today, I just felt like I was in such a lovely, beautiful place. The atmosphere and how it feels to be in love and light. And that's what we all want. We want to have our love, share our love, and that will help us to
that's right.
show our light, illuminate our lives, so our light to others. So I think it's beautiful. And come in. And even if you don't want necessarily to be an entrepreneur, that isn't your reason for coming. Come and be with these
Sisterhood,
ladies.
yes.
Be in this
Family,
beautiful place.
yes, yes.
Just smell the way it smells and feel the power that's in the room.
Yes,
And
thank
you will be uplifted just from
Thank you.
being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this has been a total blessing and lift off for Black History Month.
Yes,
Um,
lift every voice.
yes,
Oh,
yes,
love it.
Yes.
yes. And Friday, open mic night, we are also celebrating kicking off Black History Month. So come read your poetry, come be creative, come, you know, enjoy in the fun, the food, the community. We will be here.
Having so much fun.
Yes,
Come
having so
join
much
us.
and loving who we are.
And may I
So
say this too?
yes,
One
please.
of the things that as we learned about our Black history, we learned the fact that this is Julia Davis taught us this. When you sing, lift every voice and sing. You're singing it in honor of your ancestors.
Yes.
So make sure that you're singing all 3 verses.
Not
And
just
always stand when you sing it. So that's one of the things we did. When we sang Lift Every Voice and
Wow.
Sing as a part of the Girls and Boys Clubs, they learn all 3 verses and they learn to stand. And so if you don't have time to sing all 3 verses, don't sing it at all. This is what Julie Davis taught us. Just sing another song.
Okay.
teach.
Okay. We're not
We need
settling
to-
today.
Right.
All or nothing.
Right.
You're singing it in honor of your
Yes,
ancestors.
Mm.
Thanking them. So in honor of them. So let's remember that as you come across that song during this months that come. And just learn more about our Black history, learn more about this organization. Susan Vachon was the first president of the St. Louis Association of Colored Women's Clubs, and I know you know that name.
Vachon.
Vachon.
Yes.
So she was the wife of Vachon, for whom the school was named.
Mm.
So it's just wonderful, wonderful,
Wonderful
women
history and things we
They
don't
lit the way
know.
for us.
Yes.
And so,
That we don't know.
and like you say, the path is there.
Mm.
We just need to follow
That's right.
and bring our own light now.
Right.
Because like I say, you ladies are bringing such light and love and helping it to go even further. So we're looking forward to all that you're bringing to us because it inspires us and keeps us moving too. We need a little energy. And so
And
that
we got it.
helps
You
us.
giving us the energy, so we're feeding off each
Mhm.
other. We're feeding each other,
So
and this is beautiful.
excited.
Next week, our guest is Regina Fowler,
Yes.
financial consultant. So
Mm.
be ready to learn about our wealth management, and get some tips as to how we can manifest more with our prosperity within the financial realm, and learning tips and other aspects of us growing in that aspect.
And I think
So-
that's going to be right on time, right before taxes. So don't try to spend
I'm
those
saying,
taxes.
right? So right. Just wait till next week so
Yeah.
we can get the tips and get some of the help that
Yes.
we need to
Excited.
start this year off the right way. And
Yes.
we're blessed.
February is going to be
Big.
kicking. I
Yeah.
mean, between our guests and the events.
Yes.
I mean, like she said, we have open mic night this Friday. Next Sunday, the 12th, is a Rihanna Super Bowl party here at Love and Light Cuisine 1325. We're gonna have food specials. Remember, everything's vegan, so if you're looking for somewhere to go, come out here and hang with us. And then the following Sunday, did I say Sunday? Because that was Sunday the 12th. And then the following Sunday, the 19th, is Naughty Ground. Just follow our website for more on
Sounds
that.
like fun.
Oh, it's gonna be lots of fun, y'all.
And we can't really do everything in February. So we that's one of the things that Reverend Herman Dreer taught us, that we can really have Black History all year long.
All year long.
But the following month in March, I did have the honor of serving as the national historian for this organization. And so I'll be speaking at the Missouri Historical Society along with the current historian, and we're going to be talking about the World's Fair. You'll be happy to know that the St. Louis Association, the National Association, took some action while they were here for the 1904 World's Fair. And we'll be talking more about that at the Missouri Historical Society.
Oh, beautiful. We have to
Missouri
get all
History
that,
Museum.
that information from you so we can put that on there too. And I think March is Women's History Month. Right.
Oh, perfect.
So yeah.
So don't stop learning. Don't stop Black History. It's all
year round.
Yeah.
Right. All year round. So thank you guys for coming. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the chat. Direct message us and get back with us. And if at any time, if you want to be a guest on the show or have suggestions on how we can further improve the show and grow better, please let us know. Let us know. So thank you all.
We'll continue
next
lifting
Tuesday.
as we climb.
Yes, Risha, I love it.
Thank you for having me today.
Oh, thank you. Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you so much. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe